Welcome to Global Business. I am your host, Dr.Neva, and today I am with Winnie. Winnie is going to tell you about herself because I think it's better when someone tells you about who they are. Welcome to the program, Winnie.
Thank you, and glad for having me.
You're most welcome. So tell me about yourself. And I do want to say, this show, we are about bringing on dynamic individuals who have traveled the globe, and you are such a person. So just
You're
go
just
ahead.
too kind.
Go ahead.
Well, naturally, I do have interest in humanity. I believe that when there is harmony worldwide on this entire planet, everything works so beautifully. I can carve out a perfect niche for my own environment or community, selfishly, not realizing that unequal opportunities outside of my community becomes a danger to the sustainability of my community. So that inspired me to really find out what the entire world is all about. I have not traveled the entire world, but I've done a lot of research, and of course, I hit a number of continents. I still have a few continents to go to.
Okay.
But by doing so, I really get a good understanding of what's going on both sides of the fence so that I can get involved and find out exactly where I should be working to contribute to the harmony of the world population.
Great. Now, tell me a little bit about some of the places you have traveled to.
All right, so the Caribbean, definitely. Even though I was born in the good island of Antigua,
Yes.
I had the opportunity to do some workshops and training in Trinidad, in Costa Rica, in Panama. However, I worked mostly for a good 7 to 8 years contributing in the country of Ghana, West Africa.
Wow.
And that's all about developing people so that they can perform well in business.
Wow, you've been to some amazing places. What attracted you to go to Ghana?
That's an interesting question. A friend of mine who has passion for the continent. She has passion for the continent, and she had settled on Ghana after traveling from the Middle East, such as Egypt, and going northern area of Africa, coming down to the west. She settled her heart on Ghana. And she says to me, Winnie, you have to go to Ghana. You have so much to offer. The country has such great potential. And with good mentorship and good leadership, it can really, really grow into a phenomenal country. Please, please, please. In about 4 years, she has been pleading with me. And I was somewhat hesitant because I really wanted to develop more the North American community, which includes the Caribbean, maybe South America, and I just wanted to stay in that area. But through persuasion, and of course she married someone from Ghana, and he and her came to my home with a non-refundable ticket.
Wow.
To go to Ghana.
Wow.
They were that serious.
Wow.
So I said, fine. I went there and I evaluated what was going on and saw a great opportunity for me to contribute in the development of their human capital. And so I've been there from 2007, the last time 2013, going back and forth doing workshops and development.
That's excellent. Now, I know that you have a passion for what you do, and I want you to tell the world, what is it exactly that you do when you travel?
Human capital development. And what that means is basically helping individuals to understand the big picture. I sort of demonstrate this map of where we can be if we work harmoniously together. That's one. How it benefits them. That's two. and then share with them the personality that each person has that could possibly prevent them from functioning at their best as a team, because we cannot succeed individually. We have to prosper in units, but we must know and respect each other and their performances. So when I go there, that's what I want to do, is to help them first with understanding self, becoming self-organized, self-disciplined, emotional intelligence, and then share with them how to apply that to their skill sets.
So, who are the ideal people that you work with or should seek your assistance?
Individuals who are ambitious, individuals who are team-oriented. They understand that they want to win. There's some people who are so passionate about winning that they will literally cry if they lose.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yes, they will literally go through temper tantrum. They just don't want to lose. So I need to modulate that and help them to understand that what is perceived as being, or it can be perceived as that they're losing or as failure, doesn't exist.
Right.
It's just about, they need to understand, okay, let's evaluate this. You created a life. Let's evaluate how you performed, why you performed that way, so that you perform better the next time around.
Excellent. So I know you travel, and a lot of people, their fear is traveling, going outside of their boundaries. It's just, they have this idea of, say, for instance, Africa. I know you've traveled more than Africa. You've been to Europe, and we're going to talk about that. But they have this idea where things are not safe, or can you really make an income somewhere else? And, let's talk about that. Talk about your experience with that.
Okay. Fear I do not have.
Why?
I believe that all human beings are controlled by their creator, which is God.
That's powerful.
And if I'm connected to him and he's connected to me, then he has empowered me in how to work harmoniously with anyone. And I mean anyone. And so face to face, I'm able to communicate with them in a way that subdue any negative performance that they may think about doing. And that's really what it is. There's no reason to fear another human being. We only need to understand them and not to activate the immaturity that does exist. Emotional immaturity is really what you need to be concerned about. Do not activate one's emotional immaturity, where they feel threatened because of that immaturity, and of course they seek to defend themselves.
Right. So, where somewhere else you've traveled to beyond Ghana? You mentioned some places.
Dubai!
Dubai, really?
Yes, I just love Dubai. I love the diversity. It's a Muslim, organized structure that I find very, very intriguing.
Yes.
It's a culture that I would like to study more, because for what I've done, and I think I've been to Dubai about 4 or 5 times. And it's just an amazing, amazing country. I admire the depth of the reason why they're organized the way they're organized. So that's an area I want to continue to study and develop. I think if you're a person of deep thought, you can understand the form, what actually goes on there in the way it's organized and why it is organized. It's intentional, and it's very, very intriguing for me.
Wow. Now, I know you haven't said this yet, but I know that you have traveled to Europe recently.
Yes, Bratislava,
Yeah.
Slovakia,
Yes,
Central Europe.
Some of us haven't heard about those places for some reason. So,
now you've mentioned it, when you travel as much as I've done, sometimes you forget, I've been to Cairns, Australia. Now I'm thinking about it. Cairns, Australia, Sydney, Australia. New Zealand, Oh my goodness, where else? I think Fiji.
Right. Wow.
Yes,
Fiji.
Fiji
Wow.
has
I
been
mean, I've
one.
traveled, but some of these places have not been on my list.
Finland,
Yeah.
Finland, Poland. Oh, I loved Poland.
Really?
Yes, Poland. Of course, we have the Czech Republic. Hungary is also that. I mean, these are just unique cultures that I really, really enjoy. I forgot all about those. Now when you said, I'm just so. Well, anyway, I'm just enjoying the world. It's really nice.
As I said initially, I know you've traveled the globe, and that's why you're here.
Yes.
And it's not just about vacation
No,
for you.
Never. It had never been vacation. It was always about studying cultures, understanding people before I become definitive in my statements, my philosophy.
So, what is it about the classroom that you love? Because when you travel, you're actually teaching. And when I say classroom, I'm not talking about kindergarten. You're dealing with adults.
Yes.
Yeah. And many of those adults are in business, and they need to sharpen their skills and their leadership outlook, and that's what you do. Tell me about your classroom, and how do you think you impact these individuals?
I have a philosophy in teaching adults.
Okay.
Number one, I want them to understand that when they're all in the room with their own personal experience. From the day they were born to the hour that they're sitting before me and others, they're coming with a wealth of rich experience. That some might think it was a failure, some might think they're not so happy, it's no big deal, but until I facilitate that and bring that out, and their peers able to share all of those experiences being exposed on the floor, we go into the next phase, which is let's go into reflective mode. Let's evaluate these experiences. And by evaluating those experiences, the individuals are coming into a harmonious blend of appreciation for their life's experience. If they're in business and they thought they failed, they think they're a failure and they're trying to hold back from scaling even greater. But by being in that room of those experiences, someone might share, I failed 100 times. They're using that word fail, but for them, it was a laboratory experience. They now, that 100th time, they realized there's 100 ways not to do this towards the goal that they're trying to achieve. However, some of those that they thought would be a failed attitude helps someone else in the room and says, well, I could use that. Well, therefore, it's recyclable. It was a failure for what you're trying to achieve, but it's just the thing I needed. The other person would say, just the thing I needed to help me scale with where I am. So that's one. And then sometimes we now go into the practice. So as a team, they break up in groups, and now they're going to practice some of the new ideologies that came from this robust discussion.
Wow.
And then we bring it back to the conversation. So those are the 4 steps when I'm working with adults worldwide, here or wherever, and helping them to understand that.
Now, I want to know, how are you perceived when you step into the classroom or into the boardroom? Or how do they perceive you? Or is it a warm welcome?
Mystery. And I don't know if it's because I love my favorite color. They said, where I am comfortable wearing black. And I have an image consultant that shares with me that it's very intimidating. And when you walk into the room, black says, I don't know who you are, and you cause people to back up. And that was not really what I wanted to do. But I guess the reason I do that is just I want it to be more of a comfortable environment where, okay, so it demands attention, but I believe in my jovial personality. I could warm them up and get them to know me, like me, trust me.
Trust is very important, because no matter in business, if someone don't trust you, they're not going to do business with you. You can't come back to them, even if you had the opportunity initially to get business from them.
Exactly.
So trust is a big thing.
Yes.
Now, what are some key components do you impart on the individuals you train? When we speak one-on-one, you've mentioned, having a vision, a mission, and,
values. That's
values.
key.
Yeah.
That's key.
Just give me a little bit more highlight on that.
All right. So I have this belief that we were all created to self-organize. I don't believe we were created to be managed. I believe that each of us are endowed with a seed of individual power that could guide us to doing all the things that were right, but powers to be have somehow mute that power that's within us. And so we grew up believing that we have to take marching orders for the next directives, when to go to the bathroom, when you should not go to the bathroom, when you should do this. And so that area of thought been muted. So we are only expected to have a feeling, and hopefully you don't have a feeling, because some organizations, you don't have a feeling, you're just going to do what I want to do. And if I speak to you in any manner, don't be offended, just do it. Doesn't work anymore. And so self-organization is key to self-organization to me is key for effective performance and enjoyable performance, if I'm answering the question correctly. It means that if the person is well developed and they understand that all of what they need is within them, if they could develop their emotional intelligence to that point, and they can hone their own ground, then they can respect the next person next to them, that you're not fighting the next person. Well, it's my idea and I want it to be, and if not, I'm going to create chaos. We now know in this rounded group that we are equal and we must respect each other's input.
Wow.
I'm hoping I answered your question.
Oh, yes, yes. Like, you give a lot to think about, you know. I want to know, where's your next travel? Where do you plan to go next? And what will you be doing there?
I have my my vision on Australia.
Why Australia?
It's a unique continent of people. I believe Australia does have a very diverse group with great potential that dwells within that land. In my preliminary investigation, there are individuals who may not have been given the opportunity to know their own power and to understand how to work in teams and understand the potential that they have. And I saw a great opportunity on just the preliminary survey that I've done. So I want to be able to get in there and bring them up to that level where they learn to know how to go about knowing each other, how to go about liking each other, how to go about trusting each other, and how to embrace diversity so that they can innovate and now perform and enjoy the abundance that this world has to offer to grow their economy.
Wow. So Australia. But many would think that Australia, you know, is developed. However, it's just like the States in diversity. So you have, how about New Zealand next to them?
Yes,
You know?
New Zealand, of course, is the next one. They're sister countries in the way I've seen it. And so if we can anchor that model that's there, you know, the U.S. economy is just so diverse and offers so much as it pertains to values. That if we can share that there and it could be anchored in Australia, then I believe that Australia can take care of the Pacific market in the area of values. How do you model values? I think that was the question you asked earlier and I went off on tantrum. But the vision, the mission, if you get them to understand the community or your country or wherever, the real vision, very clear. How do you cast a vision that's clear? So that it is so inspiring that it actually brings up the ingenuity, the innovative thoughts and creativity in the mission. And others contribute to that strategic plan in the mission. Here is the vision. And get everyone to contribute to how we are going to execute the mission. But before we can do that, we must establish the true values. And this is where America comes to the plate. This is a country that somehow has managed to establish tried and tested values. It's not fully embraced yet, but you can see the power of the values. And when you model those values, it's form a behavior. And that behavior leads to a sustainable system. even a sustainable political system. You follow me? So even though you have the diversity and all the chaos going on, the larger group is able to still maintain harmony because those behaviors are modeled. And so that's what we want to do in the global market. And I believe Australia has that potential to be that, to me, that country to do that development, understand it, and take care of New Zealand, Fiji, Guam, and all of the Pacific groups around them.
Now, one place you haven't mentioned, and I know it's on your list of things to do because, we speak.
Yes.
Morocco.
Oh, okay, yes, we are. All right, so I have a client, a restaurant client that has the new fusion food of Mediterranean, Southern U.S. cuisine, and Caribbean, creating that fusion.
Wow.
And it's new to the market, in Queens, Rosedale, Queens. It's very new to the market. And I thought of the idea of that restaurant taking their clients and their community to the Mediterranean. So starting at Morocco to understand the cuisine there, to understand the architectural designs, because their restaurant is actually designed in that that motif, and to understand some health benefits of their spices, and not only just touring to understand Marrakesh and Casablanca and the lifestyle, but also not only healthy foods and understanding that, but also understanding and appreciating culture, diversity. And we are able to speak with them. As a matter of fact, I believe that you're supposed to be in Morocco to help us with that too.
Yes, I actually have to go to Morocco before the time that you're supposed to be there,
Yes.
a week before, because I will be doing a keynote speaking for some youths that are there. So we will run into each other.
Yeah.
I hope.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm hoping
yes,
that.
yes. We'll see how that goes.
I am, and it's amazing. That was never one of the things on my bucket list, was to take people. But you see, it just naturally falls right in with what it is that my vision is for the world. And it's, wow, there are people who says, I want to go. So it's not just taking them on vacation. It's taking them there and being able to put them in almost a classroom setting for helping them to understand the culture, helping them to understand, let them see how, model a behavior before them in how you deal with people within that culture.
Yes.
To answer some of the questions that they don't understand, in a language that they do. And I just think it's just one of the most rewarding opportunities that I can offer. And
Yes,
and
it sounds like a great trip. And one of the things that I find that's great about the world, pretty much anyone can find you online and they will invite you to come to their country to do for you.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah, to do the, for you training
Yes.
and for me is to help them to do business here in the States and also bringing individuals back. And for me, how I came across Morocco was simply some individuals, a group. I won't elaborate on that right now, but youth that are there having their conference and thought I would be a great speaker.
Oh,
You're going there at the same time. And I'm saying all this to say this world belongs to all of us.
That is the key.
And so many opportunities, and you're doing great and wonderful work. And one of the things that you've said to me is to collaborate with each other. Is so much you can get out of collaborating. Some of us are like, well, I'm not working with her, or we're not working with him because they're going to take
failure.
Yes.
Collaboration, diversity is collaboration.
Yes.
But if each unit, just envision everyone being emotionally mature. They're managing their own emotions. They know themselves. And then they're able to understand. Right now, I focused on helping individuals have self-awareness. You know, in HR, we use this word psychometric assessment. And so in Europe, I was introduced to a program that would help individuals or help coaches, mentors, everyone, to be able to truly understand self holistically in its deepest depth, which I find totally amazing. So if one person gets to understand, if you and I become partners, and I really don't know what your true strengths are or weakness, and vice versa, it's a possibility we will not really grow economically together. It's a possibility we'll fall apart and go to court and lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
But imagine if you understand that I'm a strong, creative person, really strong, solution oriented. You ask me a question right now, give me a few minutes, if not immediately, I could come up with a unique, creative way. That's my strength. Execution is not my strength. All right, so that makes me an excellent consultant. Now, let's say, for example, that you are a good thinker. So as creative as I am, and then I pass it over to the person who wants to run with it, with bypassing the thinking and the analysis, you see what could happen. But what if you slowed me down and questioned some of my thinking, and then I get to formulate it quick, better? Do you see the success? So this is the reason why that collaboration, knowing each person's strength and weakness, so that if you are an executor, do you see how you strengthen me? You complete me.
Yes.
And if you're not the creative person, do you see how I complete you? Now, what if we went down the entire line of diversity of thought and principles? We are completing each other, which increases economic scale.
Yes. I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
It has been a pleasure.
Yes, and I believe our audience learned so much, not only about the global market, but also about leadership, and about collaboration, and about Winnie. And I'm going to say your last name, although you said no.
Benjamin.
Yes, Winnie Benjamin. Now, how can they find you?
Well, basically, I could be found on LinkedIn, Winnie Benjamin. On LinkedIn, Winnie M. Benjamin. On Facebook. Stewardship Masters International is the name of my consulting business. And my main focus of operation is business performance advisory. And so companies that really would like to increase the economy of scale, that's when I could come in and look at the efficiencies, look at the performances of what could actually reduce that power in the marketplace. That's my passion, and to build capacity. So they can actually find me on either of those platforms right now.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much again. And thank you all. Until next time, this is Global Business, and I am Dr. Neva.